When God is about to release a financial miracle, the very first thing he looks at is your faith. Faith is not wishful thinking, it's spiritual currency. It is the unseen force that moves the hand of God. Fear keeps you locked in the same place, replaying the same worries over and over again. But faith dares to believe even when the evidence says it's impossible. When your bank account looks empty, when your bills are piling up, when the opportunities seem dried out, faith still whispers, God will provide. That's where your miracle begins, because God never responds to panic, he responds to trust. Every time you choose faith over fear, you open a door for heaven to move on your behalf. Faith is not denying your reality, it's choosing to believe that your reality can change in an instant when God steps in. It's looking at lack and still declaring abundance. It's walking through uncertainty and still expecting breakthrough. When you believe that God is your provider, your source, and your sustainer, you release divine energy that attracts solutions. Faith transforms worry into worship and hesitation into expectation. It takes the what if of fear and replaces it with even if confidence. Even if it doesn't make sense, even if it takes time, even if I don't see it yet, I trust God will come through. The reason many people never see financial miracles is because they let fear choke their faith. They worry more than they worship. They depend more on people than on God. But faith shifts the focus. It says, my job is not my source, God is. My savings are not my security, His word is. Faith moves you from begging to believing. When you walk by faith, you begin to see opportunities that fear could never recognize. You begin to speak differently, think differently, and plan differently. Suddenly, what looked impossible begins to move because faith activates heaven's resources. Every time you declare faith in the middle of lack, you are planting seeds of miracles. You're showing God that you trust Him more than your circumstances. And that's when He begins to multiply what's left in your hands. Look at the widow in Scripture. She had only a little oil, but she believed, and God multiplied it. Faith always multiplies the little you have. It turns your not enough into more than enough. The reason faith is so powerful is because it invites God into your situation. When He steps in, scarcity turns into surplus. Closed doors become divine openings, and dry seasons become testimonies of provision. If you want to see a financial miracle, you must start walking by faith, not by sight. Stop saying, I can't afford it, and start saying, God will make a way. Stop fearing loss and start expecting increase. Fear limits your life to what you can control, but faith unlocks what only God can do. Remember, fear looks at the storm, but faith looks at the Savior. And when your focus shifts from the size of your problem to the greatness of your God, miracles start happening. Faith will make you invest when logic says wait. Faith will make you give when fear says hold back. Faith will make you take steps that don't make sense to others, but make perfect sense in heaven's plan. The moment you choose faith, you align yourself with divine flow. And once you're in that flow, resources begin to find you, ideas, people, and opportunities begin to show up at your door, because heaven responds to expectation. So if you've been waiting for a financial breakthrough, stop feeding your fear. Feed your faith instead. Speak life over your finances. Declare increase when everything looks dry. Keep tithing, keep giving, keep believing. Because faith is not just believing God can, it's knowing He will. The God who multiplied bread, who brought water from a rock, who provided manna from heaven, has not changed. He's about to show you that faith still moves mountains, still opens doors, and still releases miracles. When you trust Him completely, He will prove Himself faithful. Your faith will turn the impossible into testimony, and your belief will open the gates for the financial miracle heaven has already prepared for you. Before God releases a financial miracle, He often allows a season of testing to see if your heart is prepared for abundance. Many people pray for blessings, but few are truly ready to handle what comes with it. God doesn't want to give you a miracle that will destroy you. He wants to give you one that will elevate you. That's why, before the overflow comes, He'll test your stewardship, your attitude, and your obedience. Sometimes He delays your breakthrough, not because He's forgotten you, but because He's preparing you to manage the weight of what's coming. He doesn't want your blessing to become your downfall. He wants your character to be strong enough to hold the wealth He's about to release. You may wonder why things seem slow, why opportunities seem blocked, or why doors keep closing. It's not punishment, it's preparation. God is building the discipline you'll need to handle increase. If you can't be faithful with little, you won't be faithful with much. If you're careless with the few resources you have now, greater ones will only magnify the problem. But when you learn to manage the small things with excellence, God can trust you with more. Every test you face in this season is divine training. The delay is shaping you into someone who can sustain abundance without being destroyed by it. When you're asking God for financial miracles, He's asking you, can I trust you? Can I trust you to stay humble when wealth comes? Can I trust you to bless others and not become greedy? Can I trust you to give even when you have plenty? The testing phase is where God refines your motives. He removes pride, impatience, and selfish ambition. Because if your heart isn't right, your miracle will turn into a mess. Sometimes God strips things away not to hurt you, but to protect your future. He takes away what you depend on so you can depend fully on Him. This season of testing teaches you the power of contentment. You learn that peace is not found in possessions, but in presence, the presence of God. When you stop chasing money and start chasing God, He releases what you were chasing all along. The miracle is not just about receiving wealth. It's about becoming someone who reflects God's nature through wealth. The testing season helps you master yourself before you manage success. You learn to say no to temptation, to spend wisely, to sow faithfully, and to give generously. These are not just financial habits. They are spiritual disciplines that attract divine favor. God is more interested in your growth than your comfort. That's why sometimes He'll let you go through a financial wilderness. He'll let you feel the sting of lack so you can understand the value of gratitude. He'll close doors so you can learn to trust His timing. He'll reduce your resources so you can see how much you truly depend on Him. It's in those moments of pressure that your faith either breaks or builds. And when you remain steadfast, even when nothing seems to be working, that's when you show heaven you're ready for promotion. The wilderness is never the end. It's a passageway to abundance. Every test you pass brings you one step closer to your miracle. When you choose integrity over shortcuts, faith over fear, generosity over greed, you are proving that you can be trusted with greater. God's financial miracles are not random. They are rewards for faithfulness. You might not see it now, but every small act of obedience is unlocking a bigger door in the Spirit. The same God who tested Joseph in prison before elevating him to the palace is the same God testing you now before releasing your overflow. So don't grow weary in the testing. It's not a setback, it's a setup. Your character is being refined like gold, your patience is being stretched, and your faith is being strengthened. Because when your financial miracle comes, and you'll be ready to handle it with wisdom, humility, and purpose. The delay is not denial, it's divine preparation. God is shaping you into the person who won't just receive blessings, but will multiply them for His glory. So stay faithful, stay focused, and trust the process. You're not being punished, you're being prepared for your financial miracle. When God is about to release a financial miracle, He first shifts your mindset from survival to stewardship. Many people pray for money, but few are ready to think like kingdom managers. God's blessings are not meant to feed greed. They are meant to build purpose. When your mind is small, even a big blessing can be wasted. That's why God works on your perspective before He works on your prosperity. He teaches you that money is not the master, it's a tool, a servant for divine purpose. Before the financial breakthrough arrives, He renews your thinking, pulling you out of a poverty mindset and into a mindset of faith, abundance, and vision. This is why, before your miracle shows up, you might notice God challenging your habits and your thoughts. He will make you question the way you spend, the way you plan, and the way you see yourself. Because if you think poor, you'll live poor even with riches. But if you think like a steward, you'll multiply whatever God places in your hand. He's not just preparing you to have wealth, He's preparing you to handle wealth. Every instruction, every conviction, every shift in your mindset is God saying, I'm getting you ready for overflow. In this stage, God often isolates you from distractions. He'll take you away from voices that limit you and people who drain your vision. He replaces them with divine wisdom books, mentors, and spiritual insights that expand your thinking. You'll begin to see possibilities where others see problems, and you'll understand that true wealth is not about money alone, but about influence, purpose, and legacy. God is reprogramming you to operate on a higher level because He cannot pour new wine into an old wineskin. Sometimes this mindset shift comes through discomfort. You might lose your job, face unexpected bills, or experience tight seasons, not to destroy you, but to teach you that your source is not your salary, it's your Savior. The pressure reveals who you trust. When God sees that you can trust Him even when there's nothing in your account, He knows He can trust you when there's everything. That's the mindset of faith unshaken by circumstances, anchored in divine provision. This shift from lack to abundance starts within. You begin to walk with confidence, not arrogance, knowing that the same God who multiplies loaves and fish can multiply your opportunities. You stop saying, I can't afford this, and start saying, God will make a way. You stop operating from fear and start operating from expectation. And when your heart and mind align with God's truth, that's when the heavens open. God wants you to think big because small thinking limits divine flow. He wants you to plan, to save, to invest, to give not from fear, but from faith. Every great blessing begins with a renewed mindset. When you start seeing yourself as a vessel of divine abundance, not a victim of lack, you begin attracting resources, connections, and opportunities that match your new level of belief. So if you feel your thoughts changing, if you're starting to dream bigger, plan wiser, and believe deeper, know this. It's a sign that your financial miracle is near. God is shifting your mind because He's about to shift your reality. The transformation begins within before it shows up without. You are being mentally and spiritually positioned for divine overflow. God is saying, I am preparing your mind to match your miracle. Stay teachable, stay obedient, and let Him renew your thoughts, because once your mindset shifts, your miracle will manifest. When God is about to release a financial miracle, He often brings divine connections and supernatural opportunities that no man can take credit for. This is the season where what used to be difficult suddenly becomes easy, where doors that were locked for years swing open, and where favor finds you even in unexpected places. When God steps in, He moves beyond logic. He positions people in your path who are assigned to bless you, invest in you, and speak your name in rooms you've never entered. These connections are not coincidences, they are divine alignments orchestrated by heaven. But before these divine connections appear, God will often separate you from the wrong ones. He will remove people who can't carry your vision, who secretly compete with your destiny, or who drain your faith with their fear. It might hurt to lose them, but that disconnection is divine protection. God can't release your financial miracle while you're surrounded by those who would mishandle it, manipulate it, or mock it. He has to clear your circle before he blesses your hands. Don't mourn who left. Celebrate that God is making space for those who are truly meant to walk with you into abundance. When you are aligned with the right people, you will notice a supernatural acceleration. What took years to build will suddenly begin to multiply. Resources start flowing, wisdom is shared, and favor becomes your atmosphere. These divine helpers might come in many forms: a mentor, a business partner, a spiritual leader, or even a stranger who believes in your vision. Some will open doors, others will fund ideas, and some will simply remind you that God hasn't forgotten his promises. Each one carries a key to the next stage of your assignment. But remember, divine connections require divine discernment. Not everyone who smiles is sent by God. The enemy also sends counterfeits, people who look like opportunities but carry hidden agendas. That's why you must stay rooted in prayer. Ask God daily, is this connection from you? Because when it is, you won't have to chase or convince anyone. The connection will flow naturally. The peace of God will confirm it. True kingdom relationships bring clarity, not confusion. They lift your spirit, not drain it. When the right connections come, humility is your currency. Don't allow pride to sabotage divine partnerships. When God sends people to help you, receive it with grace. Sometimes the miracle you're praying for is hidden in a relationship you haven't honored. God uses people as vessels of his provision, but if you carry offense, ego, or isolation, you might block the blessing he's trying to deliver. Stay humble, stay grateful, and stay teachable. You will also notice that in this season of divine favor, your name will start to travel ahead of you. People will recommend you, promote you, and celebrate you without your effort. That's not luck, that's divine endorsement. God is placing your name in the hearts of those who have the power to elevate you. And when that happens, no enemy can block it, no jealousy can cancel it, and no lie can stop it. So if you feel new people entering your life, new doors opening, or sudden opportunities appearing, don't be afraid. That's not random. That's God's hand at work, aligning your path for breakthrough. He is bringing the right voices, the right investors, and the right connections at the right time. Your responsibility is to recognize his hand, remain obedient, and walk through every door he opens. This is your season of divine alignment and supernatural connection. God is rearranging people, places, and opportunities in your favor. Stay alert, stay humble, stay connected to him, because the people he's sending are not just friends, they are destiny builders. And through them, your financial miracle will manifest faster than you imagined. When God is about to release a financial miracle, he will test your obedience in giving, sowing, and trusting him beyond your logic. Many people pray for abundance but ignore the very principles that unlock it. God's system doesn't work like the world's system. In his kingdom, the more you give, the more you receive, not because of manipulation, but because giving is a declaration of trust. When you give from your heart, you are saying, God, I trust you as my source. And when God sees that your trust is greater than your fear, he begins to multiply what's in your hand. Before your miracle manifests, God will often ask you to give something that challenges you. It might not make sense, like the widow who gave her last meal to Elijah, or Abraham who was asked to sacrifice Isaac, or Peter who gave his boat to Jesus. But each time, that act of faith opened the door to supernatural provision. God doesn't test you to take from you, he tests you to trust him, because he knows if you can release what's in your hand, you'll make room for what's in his. Sometimes God will ask you to sow in hidden places into people, ministries, or causes that no one else believes in. And when you do, you're planting seeds that will produce a harvest beyond your imagination. The blessing might not come back from the same place you sowed it, but it will come back multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. The kingdom operates on the law of faith and seed. Every seed of obedience carries a harvest of abundance. But understand, this giving is not only about money. God will ask you to give your time, your kindness, your forgiveness, your skills, your faith, your service. Because every time you give, you create spiritual movement. Giving breaks the power of greed and releases divine flow. When you hold tightly to what you have, it becomes your limit. When you open your hand, it becomes your channel. The hand that gives is the same hand God fills. And yes, obedience isn't always convenient. God might ask you to give when your own bills are due or when you're in a dry season. But that's when your obedience speaks the loudest. Anybody can give when the bank account is full, but it takes faith to give when you're believing for the miracle. That's when you catch God's attention, because true giving is not about the amount, it's about the heart. When God sees that your obedience outweighs your fear, He releases blessings that cannot be contained. This is why you must never underestimate small acts of obedience. Maybe God is telling you to help someone, to bless a family, to invest in a dream, or to give a seed that stretches your faith. Don't hesitate. That small seed could unlock the floodgates of heaven over your life. The moment you obey, you set a divine transaction in motion. Heaven responds to obedience faster than it does to need. If you want to see financial miracles, align your giving with God's voice. Don't give out of pressure or pride. Give out of purpose and faith. Ask Him where to sow, when to sow, and how much to sow, and then obey instantly. Because the miracle isn't just in the money you give, it's in the heart that releases it. Every act of obedience becomes a bridge between your current season and your next level. So, if you feel God prompting you to give, don't hold back. He's not trying to reduce you, He's trying to release you. The seed may leave your hand, but it will never leave your life. It goes into your future, multiplies, and returns as supernatural provision. This is the law of divine exchange, and when God sees that you can give without fear, He knows you can handle overflow without pride. Your obedience today is the key to your financial miracle tomorrow. Give with faith, trust with boldness, and watch God do the impossible in your life. When God is about to release a financial miracle, He will give you supernatural peace and divine confirmation that no matter how impossible things look, it's already done. There comes a moment when you stop worrying about where it will come from, and your spirit simply knows, God's got this. That peace is not human, it's divine. It's the kind of calm that makes no sense in the middle of chaos, the kind of assurance that rises above fear, doubt, and deadlines. When that peace settles in your heart, it's a prophetic sign that your miracle has already been released in the spiritual realm and is now on its way to manifest in your life. Before breakthrough comes, there is often a storm. But right in the middle of that storm, God plants His peace like an anchor. You begin to move differently, not because everything looks good, but because your faith has matured. You no longer panic when the bills are due. You no longer lose sleep over what you can't control. You wake up with quiet confidence, whispering to yourself, "My God will provide." That unshakable peace is heaven's way of saying, "Child, I've already handled it." When divine peace fills your soul, it silences the noise of fear. The enemy will try to whisper lies, reminding you of your failures or your lack. But your spirit will reply, "It is already written, my God shall supply all my needs according to His riches in glory." You'll no longer chase blessings, you'll attract them through alignment. That peace becomes your shield. It guards your heart from anxiety and your mind from doubt. Because when your faith is at rest, your miracle can manifest without resistance. Many people lose their blessing because they panic before the promise arrives. But those who wait in peace receive with power. God's timing is not delayed, it's divine. Every moment you stay still in faith, heaven is moving in your favor. Every second you choose trust over fear, you're inviting supernatural acceleration. That's why God gives peace before provision, so you won't destroy your blessing with worry. Sometimes that peace comes right after your last tear. When you've done all you can, prayed, believed, obeyed, and suddenly you just know something is shifting. You can't explain it, but you can feel it. That's not imagination, that's confirmation. God whispers to your spirit, rest, I am working. And when you rest in that truth, you begin to witness miracles that leave even your enemies speechless. Peace is proof of partnership with God. It means you've surrendered control and chosen to believe that His way is better than yours. It's no longer about striving, it's about trusting. And when you operate from that rest, doors open effortlessly. Opportunities locate you. People favor you for no logical reason. Things that once took years begin to happen in weeks, even days. That's what happens when you walk in divine peace. It magnetizes favor. So if you find yourself in a place of stillness right now, don't mistake it for stagnation. You're not stuck. You're being settled by God. He's aligning everything, the right timing, the right people, the right opportunities, and He's wrapping your heart in His peace so that when the miracle comes, you'll handle it with wisdom, not fear. Peace is the final stage before manifestation. It's heaven's way of saying, you've passed the test. When your faith refuses to waver, when your joy doesn't depend on circumstances, when you can smile while waiting, that's when God says, now it's time. Your miracle may not have appeared yet, but it's already moving toward you. Hold on to your peace like it's gold, because it is the bridge between your promise and your manifestation. Stay calm, stay confident, and stay anchored. God's favor is already in motion. The miracle you prayed for is closer than you think. And when it arrives, you'll realize why peace came first, because God had already gone ahead and made a way.